So welcome back, friends. Donald Trump has held back from activating the tariffs on Canada and Mexico that he had announced just a few days earlier. Even if the US president's tariff raising agenda does not reach its full extent or the extent desired, the multinational companies must learn to live in a hyper uncertain world. North America auto executives this week began preparations for a supply chain shock that could be more disruptive than the COVID 19 pandemic, even as duties on the US neighbors were postponed for 30 days. China's tariff, however, of 10% has commenced. The spirits giant Daigyo scrapped its sales target, citing a lack of clarity in the US, its largest market. Barbie doll maker Mattel uh, warned that it may raise prices in the United States to offset the impact of any tariffs on its global manufacturing base. Indicators of economic uncertainty have shattered records reached in Trump's first term. His second administration is showing a greater willingness to use executive orders to threaten tariffs even against its own allies. Despite this week's postponements, it is unwise for businesses with supply chains that feed the world's largest consumer market to assume that a president sees trade sanctions only as a negotiating tool. An additional 10% tariff on China has taken effect, as I just said. Other targeted nations are busy devising retaliatory measures. Can the businesses stand still? No. Wall Street analysts are imploring US companies to explain how they will mitigate the tariff war risks. Given the potential disruption, risk mapping and contingency planning is a sensible first step. In some cases, inputs crisis cross the America's borders with Mexico and Canada several times before reaching the retailer, complicating the impact of higher duties throughout the production line. And more of it is yet to come. Intense lobbying activity for carve outs will add further complexity. Even those who are not directly hit by tariffs will be affected as uncertainty eats into Trump's opposing efforts to excite animal spirits. What can the businesses do as a result? The delay to Mexican and Canadian duties may allow some US based companies to build reserves. The surge in Chinese exports last year, for example, was partly attributed to the front loading of stocks ahead of possible tariff disruption. Others might consider reconfiguring the product designs and inputs to skirt tariff definitions. That is, however, a high risk approach when Trump's team are also touting universal duties and reciprocal tariffs. For importers anticipating price rises to protect margins, there may even be scope to capture market share by undercutting competitors. Over time, the businesses will need to re-evaluate their broader sourcing, production, and distribution operations. Supply chain diversification, particularly away from China, has progressed rapidly since the pandemic. But now, even those de risking and friend-shoring efforts are at risk. The administration has cottoned on to China plus one strategies of shifting some production to third countries such as Mexico and Vietnam to export into the United States. Still assessing new sourcing routes and logistics hubs and finding new markets can provide operational flexibility. This can be costly, but it hedges against rising geopolitical risks. By forcing businesses to look at alternative, fast growing markets, it can also be useful. Then there's the option of relocating production to the United States, which may be the ultimate goal of Donald Trump's tariffs. This may make sense for the manufacturers of highly competitive niche products such as chips. Taking this route, however, comes at a price in factory openings and in expensive labor, made scarcer by a clampdown on immigration. Trump's shoot from the hip style and love of tariffs are a recipe for volatility, but in the face of disruption ranging from COVID to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, supply chains have already shown an unexpected agility and resilience. The winners in the latest era of uncertainty will be those businesses that once again show that they are nimble and they can think on their feet quickly. To get to know more where the US markets are headed from here, which companies will benefit the most from the Trump era, the Trump tariffs, and the increasingly uncertain world and geopolitical risks, do join our Prime or Prime Plus Telegram groups, which are specifically addressed for the US stock markets. For the Indian markets, you can join the Premium Value Plus, which gives 1 week predictions in advance, or the Premium Plus, which gives you 10 to 12 days predictions plus good multi-baggers. For both, you can WhatsApp us on 982-086-1044. Alternatively, you can email us at globalmoneyinvestor@gmail.com, globalmoneyinvestor@gmail.com. Happy investing and have a great weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.